1960s. We were using a channel length of 50 microamperes, 30 microamperes like that. At that time, the technology that was there to create a MOS was entirely different. Not entirely, more, to a large extent it was different from what is required to create a nanometer MOSFET. Because at nanometer now there are source and drains are so close that various electrical effects they come into picture which are absent when you have a source and drain region far apart. Okay, so those effects have to be taken into account, and you still want to retain or you still want to get those reliable ID-VDS and ID-VGS characteristics. We still want those because those characteristics we are using for our functioning of any circuit. So those characteristics we do. And we want it as reliably as we were getting it for a long channel MOSFET. So as a result, a short channel MOSFET now, which has additional electrical effects coming into picture because of the closeness of source and drain, because of VT becoming so low. So we need to now modify our technology so that all these effects which are coming, they can be mitigated. They can be made minimum. Their impact can be made minimum, and we still reliably get those characteristics ID versus VDS and ID versus VGS. So this is what we would be requiring. So let us see what were those problems and how it was taken care of. We will not be going into much of a physics, but we will be discussing more in a qualitative fashion. Okay, so I will not be discussing the theory behind it, the physics behind it, or I will not be deriving any relations. Expressions will not be derived, but I will be telling you how a particular problem has been addressed through technology. Okay, so first of all, we all know that Moore's law is still, people they have a strong belief that will still continue with the Moore's law. And if it is to be continued, that means we go on scaling down, scaling down, scaling down. And as we go on scaling down, now we are at a threshold of 28 nanometer MOSFET, 15 nanometer MOSFET, 10 nanometer MOSFET, 11 nanometer MOSFET. And that MOSFET is much smaller, at least 2 orders smaller than whatever we were having at, rather 3 orders smaller than whatever we were having at some 30 years back, 40 years back. Okay, so in this situation, so now we start saying that now we have got a short channel MOSFET. So it is no longer a long channel MOSFET, we calling it as a short channel MOSFET, and we call them such that because their additional electrical effects, they make the functioning of or the drain current equation of a short channel MOSFET differ from that of a long channel MOSFET. If you take into account all those short channel effects, okay, and then include them in your equation, your long channel square law is no longer a square law, or rather it becomes a different equation. By adding those, so we characterize it separately from a long channel MOSFET. We characterize it separately. So long channel MOSFET is characterized separately and short channel MOSFET is characterized separately. And normally beyond 250 nanometers, we say it is a short channel. So I hope you all understand, or you must have done the various short channel effects which occur at a nanometer range in your PMMD course, Physics and Modeling of Microelectronic Devices. So what are those effects? Can you recall them? One is VT degradation, threshold voltage degradation. That is the same. That's the same thing. So VT degradation means the threshold voltage becomes very, very small. As a result, it becomes difficult to turn off the MOSFET because it is very close to zero. So even at a VT which is so close to zero, you have a sizable current. So even if the moment you bring it less than VT, still you have a large amount of current. So it is as good as being in a turned on situation. So we say that turning off now becomes a problem. We cannot turn off the MOSFET properly. So now there is no clear demarcation between on and off state, because subthreshold current is comparable to that of the on state current. So VT degradation is one such problem. Can you recall another one? Another one is Another important short channel effect is gate leakage. What is gate leakage? Because your Tox goes on reducing and reducing. As a result, it becomes easy for energetic electrons in the carriers. Energetic electrons in the carriers to cross the barrier or tunnel through it. To tunnel through the barrier provided by the silicon dioxide layer. As a result, because of tunneling, now we start getting a large number of carriers flowing through the gate terminal constituting the gate current. Otherwise, in my normal situation, I assume my gate current is 0. My gate current is 0. IG, there is no charge through IG. IDC is always 0. Okay, but here in a short channel MOSFET, because of the, you can say, electric field becoming very, very high and the thickness of the Tox becoming so small, as a result, tunneling is possible. And if the tunneling is possible, I get a gate current, we call it as a gate leakage. This is called as a gate leakage. So gate leakage actually leads to extra power consumption, which I do not want. Leads to an extra power consumption. So gate leakage is another problem. VT degradation is one major problem. Okay, so VT degradation is shown here. So can you see that at voltages less than 1 micrometer in a sub-nanometer range, the fall in VT is tremendous. So VT it reduces drastically, it changes, it becomes very small. So as I said, it leads to an off-state leakage, off-state. When I say called off-state leakage, you must understand. Off-state leakage means when your MOSFET is in an off-state, that means the gate voltage is less than VT, you still have a sizable current between source and drain. I call that current is a leakage current. But so it is an off-state leakage, is also called as subthreshold current or off-state leakage current. So off-state leakage current is comparable, whereas off-state leakage current must be 0, ideally. It must be 0. But I am getting a larger value. Clear? So VT degradation causes off-state leakage, gate tunneling causes gate leakage. Fine? And there are certain parameters which are physics controlled, which do not change, like band gap. It does not change. Similarly, built-in potential, that also does not change. Surface potential, inversion layer thickness, these are physics parameters which do not change at all, which are property of material, which are due to property of material depending on silicon or germanium. They do not change because my thickness is the same. Sorry, my material is the same. Okay, so these parameters, they do not change, but VT degradation and gate leakage, they change to a larger extent. To a very large extent they change. Fine. And then mobility also changes. Mobility reduces. And carrier velocity saturation. Carrier velocity saturation means, suppose you are following a mixed kind of a scaling, which has a full scaling, also a voltage scaling technique mixed together. So at some places you will find increment in electrical fields. And when electric field increases, carrier velocity saturates, drift velocity saturates. So no longer when you increase electric field or when you increase my potential, electric field increases, so drift velocity will also increase. This is normal criteria. Now this criteria will explain. Because even if you increase the drain voltage, electric field will increase, but drift velocity will not change. It has reached its maximum value and then it saturates. Okay, this is called as a carrier velocity saturation. So this causes flattening of the curve. Even though saturation condition is not satisfied, but curve gets flattened. I hope you understand that the flattening of the curve takes place even though my VGS may not be equal to or VDS may not be equal to VGS minus V. But flattening starts earlier. Okay, so carrier velocity saturation is also a problem here. Oxide breakdown, yes, that is also again a problem, because if the oxide breaks down, you have a larger current through, means everything is broken down, a large gate current starts flowing, and normal operation of the MOSFET is lost. So these are the major short channel effects which are a problem. So out of all short channel effects, these 4-5 short channel effects are a major problem, which causes the circuit performance to change, because you are getting values or you are getting parameters which does not exist earlier. Like gate leakage does not exist earlier. Offset leakage does not exist earlier. There is no fear of oxide breakdown. There is no flattening of a curve before saturation condition, satisfaction. So these things were not happening earlier, now they are happening. So how to now make a MOSFET to give you the same performance as it was obtained 30 years back or 40 years back? So I want to now mitigate the impact of all these. I need to control all these short circuits. So what is actually done in my fabrication, during my fabrication process, so that these problems are resolved? This is what is actually I want to give you a flavor of in this lecture. Physics, you may decide or you may read on your own. I'll be telling you more in a qualitative fashion. So naturally, when we come to the exact problem, like first is a gate leakage. How do we resolve the problem of gate leakage? So we are taking each parameter one by one. Major short channel effects, the problems, and then mitigation. Their mitigation. So first problem is a gate leakage, means the TOX has become thin, tunneling is happening, I gate is increasing, which ideally should be 0. Okay, so what if this is a problem, anybody will say, okay, do not scale down TOX. Don't scale down TOX. Okay, but if you don't scale down TOX, your normal scaling procedure now will be completely, it will affect your electric fields, because TOX will give you electric field which is transverse in nature from gate to substrate. So if you do not control that, if I don't control my TOX, if I don't scale it down, naturally the transverse field will get affected. So naturally the Poisson's equation, which naturally governs your flow of carriers through a semiconductor, that has to be satisfied. If you don't satisfy, again the problem is that semiconductor flow will not happen in a proper way, or your transistor may not work. So we have to make our Poisson's equation satisfied at any point of time. It has to. So in that case, even if I try so much not to scale down, to make Poisson's equation satisfy, we are bound to scale it down. We are bound. So we cannot do anything but to scale my TOX down. Okay, so if you scale down your TOX, that is the thickness of your oxide layer. If that is to be scaled down, naturally gate leakage is bound to happen. So what should I do? So what I actually want, I want no tunneling to happen. I do not want any electronic current to tunnel through it. So what I actually want is that, how can you do it? Yes, how can you do it without, even though you want a thin layer, you do not want any electron current to tunnel through it. That means I want a layer which is physically thin, but electrically thick. I hope you understand what I mean. Physically thin, its value is thickness is small. Its thickness is small. Okay, but it is electrically thin. Electrically thick. Electrically thick means does not allow any tunneling to happen through it. Which is physically thin but electrically thick. Clear? So how to get such a situation? How to get this? So when I say electrically thick, what do I mean by that? I need to look at my capacitance expression. So look at your COX. What is your COX? Epsilon by TOX. Epsilon means permittivity, and you write it as epsilon relative. Epsilon multiplied by epsilon of naught, that is a vacuum permittivity. Okay, that's how you write. So COX is epsilon R into epsilon naught divided by TOX. Divide by TOX. So a larger TOX, if you do not change your permittivity, okay, suppose that is constant, larger Tox means smaller Cox. And that is something which does not allow a tunneling to happen because Tox is larger. So I want a Cox to be small. I want my Cox to be, what is that? Okay, so we want so Cox will increase, not smaller, no? Cox will increase. Yes, for smaller Tox, Cox will increase. So I want a larger Cox. I want a larger Cox because that means electrically thick dielectric. That means, yes, what is happening? Hello, Goa campus.
One student has just come.
Actually, I had a placement session, ma'am. That's why I was late for that.
Okay. So I want a larger Cox, but I want a large. I want a with a thin Tox. Clear? So what is done over here? We actually look at the expression for my okay. So if you suppose Tox is something that is already a very thin layer. Suppose I go on scaling it down. It comes how at the most you cannot reduce it below 5 atoms thick silicon dioxide. Why is this constraint? 5 atoms thick silicon dioxide means it has become so, because below that, if you try to deposit a 4 atoms thick silicon dioxide or 3 atoms thick or 1 atom, it is not possible to deposit a layer. Why? Because you cannot design a uniform, you cannot fabricate a uniform layer on top of silicon. Pinholes come in. Bubbles, they come into picture. Holes, they get fabricated because a uniform dielectric layer is difficult to grow on the piece of a silicon if it becomes very, very thin. If it becomes very thin, it's very difficult for me to deposit a very thin layer. It's highly difficult. So how to, now that is also a problem. If you are scaling down and having a Tox small, deposition is also a problem. So people start thinking in that direction, okay, silicon dioxide you are not able to continue now. We are not able to continue with silicon dioxide. So that means a different material has to be chosen. And what is that different material should be? As I said, my requirement is physically thin but electrically thick. My requirement is physically thin and electrically thick. So in that situation, what is done? That we have to stop the tunneling. So Cox we want to be larger. But Tox, as I said, it was a fabrication issue. You cannot go below 5 atoms layer. You cannot. That means at this point, the scaling stops for Tox. At this point, you cannot continue further. So I want a Cox. How can you now have a larger value of Cox? Because Tox is no longer scaling it down. You are not scaling it down any further, but you want the impact of scaling to come into Cox. Because scaling down the Tox means increasing the Cox. Impact is coming in terms of Cox. Okay, but here you are not able to go below. So that means Tox is more or less a static one. And after that, I cannot have a further increment in Cox, but I want a high Cox. So now we look at the permittivity. So Tox becomes constant and we look at the permittivity. We say, okay, if Tox is not changing, let me change my permittivity. So that is why the concept of high K dielectrics came into picture. What is K here? K is dielectric constant. So we said, okay, if Tox is something we cannot control, let me control my kappa, K, dielectric constant. Let me increase it. So what is the K value for silicon dioxide? What is the K value for silicon dioxide? 4. 3.9. It is 4. So we say let me work with a larger value of K. So we'll start looking for materials which have a high K value. In that case, even if your TOX is still 5 electrons thick, 5 layers thick, 5 atoms thick, I can still have a higher value of COX. I will still get a higher value of COX. So that higher value, so TOX is still thicker. TOX is still thicker. You can have a larger value of TOX also. Possible. You can increase the value of TOX also because you are changing your material. Why? Because you still get a larger value of C. Why? Because your epsilon is large. So I can design a thicker dielectric, still get a larger value of C because my epsilon is large. So choice of material has to be changed. So we need to change from silicon dioxide to any other material. And issue is that that material should be compatible with the silicon because the below layer is silicon. So compatibility issue is also there. So there were so many, you can say the materials were there who were having a high K. So we were having aluminum oxide, titanium oxide, tantalum pentoxide, hafnium silicate, zirconium oxide. They are all dielectric. They all have a high K. But the issue was that they were not compatible with the silicon. It was difficult to deposit this layer on a piece of silicon. There was no compatibility. As a result, you cannot deposit a layer which can adhere to the beneath surface. Because adherence is also a requirement. If adherence is not paper, I cannot create a MOS structure. So adherence was a problem. As a result, the material which was chosen, which was having a good compatibility, was hafnium oxide. So hafnium oxide is electrically stable, has a good compatibility with silicon, and has a high K. And you can create a larger TOX also and still get a larger C because epsilon is large. Epsilon is more than 4. Exact value you can check out, but value is more than 4. As a result, now tunneling possibility is reduced. We will not have a tunneling. Electrons tunneling through the layer, silicon dioxide layer or the dielectric layer, it reduces drastically. So we have a very less gate leakage. We get a less. So one problem is resolved, and this is resolved through technology. It is resolved through technology. Why? Because material has to be changed. Silicon dioxide has to be replaced by hafnium oxide, and naturally the process also changed a little bit because now earlier it was a growth of silicon dioxide over silicon. So what we were doing, we were going through oxidation process. Now you are depositing hafnium oxide. Now it is no longer an oxidation process, it is a deposition of hafnium oxide on a piece of silicon. So process has to be changed. Processing step has to be changed. Clear? So first problem is resolved by making changes in the processing step and by choosing a material which is called as a high K dielectric. Okay? So that is resolved. Now dielectric layer is made up of dipoles. We all know. It is made up of dipoles. Now these dipoles, they have a positive charge and a negative charge, and there is a field lines between positive to negative. So it is like a kind of a dumbbell structure. And here, because of electric fields, it gives you phonon vibration. They keep on vibrating. It's all physics. As I said, physics is there. So as it is written, it leads to vibrations, which are called as a phonon vibrations. Each dipole vibrates about its axis. Okay? So these vibrations now, they interfere with each. There are so many dipoles. They interfere with each other. As a result, because of this kind of a, you can say, coupling between different dipoles, the speed reduces. The speed, it reduces the speed. This is called as a phonon charge interaction because of this dipole. And this phonon charge interaction was actually reducing the speed because of multiple oscillations you are getting during the flow of the charge, multiple interactions. And certainly I do not want a short channel MOSFET which has a slow speed. So the result, again research was done and it was found that if you increase the density of dipoles in the layer, increase it tremendously, much more than polysilicon. Now, polysilicon gate also has to be changed. Okay? So what is, we were making polysilicon highly doped. By doping it properly, we are making it to behave like a metal. So it was to be doped. But this was showing you a slower speed. So we have a hafnium oxide created with polysilicon gate, but that was showing a slow speed. To increase the speed, what was done is that it was found out that if you have a metal gate which has a high, very high number of electrons in it, the bumps that you get, current bumps that you get, or oscillations that you get, that smoothens out, that reduces. So we get, the speed increases. The speed of the charge from source to drain increases. So can you see what we have done? In order to resolve my gate leakage problem, we changed silicon dioxide to hafnium oxide, and then we also have to change from polysilicon to metal gate. From polysilicon to metal gate. But metal cannot tolerate a high temperature processing. It cannot tolerate a high temperature processing. Metal melting point is very, very small. So either develop a cold process to develop the metal gate, or you mix metal with something which can tolerate a high temperature processing. That is why the concept of silly-sided metal gate came into picture. So look at the change in the fabrication processing steps. So now it is no longer aluminium. Okay, it is aluminium mixed with tantalum or molybdenum to get a silly-sided gate, which gives you a high density of electrons so as to smoothen out the flow of current from source to drain, with hafnium oxide replacing the silicon dioxide. Clear? So first problem lead to so many changes, some 2-3 changes that I have just listed out in the fab process, fabrication process. Clear? Now, next is that we move on to the off-state leakage. Second problem. So first problem we have resolved. We have modified our CMOS sequence, fabrication sequence accordingly. So moving on to off-state leakage. That is the problem related to VT loading, VT degradation. VT degradation. So VT is so low that current even in the off-state is very high. We want to make it a lower value. I should be able to demarcate between on-state current and off-state. Off-state current must be much smaller than the on-state current. Okay, so what should I do? Naturally, VT I cannot increase. VT anyway will come down because of scaling. VT will have to come up. How to reduce this current value? How to reduce this current value? So this current value has to be reduced. Even though you have a smaller VT, current value is this. So again, we need to make changes in our structure. So what is that structure? So research is done. Research is done, and what changes are used? This is known as a well engineering. Remember, to solve the problem of gate leakage, whatever changes we did, they were called as gate engineering. And here, to resolve the problem of VT roll-off or off-state leakage current, we again developed certain processing steps, variations, and we call them as well engineering, because changes are made in the well or in the substrate in which the MOSFET is created. Okay, so what is the change that is done? So the first thing through research which they observed, that was that, look here, this is change in the well doping profile. Change, so what is my normal doping profile? So if this is my surface, MOS, okay, and this is my silicon. Here you have a gate, oxide and then the metal gate or silicided gate. So this is your interface of between between dielectric and the silicon. So this is shown in a vertical fashion. Shown in a vertical fashion. Normally it is done like that. That you ion implant. We want channel to be formed over there. So we go for VT adjustment step where we dope certain measured quantity of dopants into the well region. So as to adjust my VT value. Okay? And in that situation, the doping profile is a uniform well. Suppose it is N well, so my dopant is phosphorus. It is an N well in which you are creating your structures, so it is phosphorus will be doped. So doping profile will be shown as a uniform well. Uniform means we use ion implantation step to create a well, and slowly dopant atoms they go on, depth-wise they go on incorporated into the well region. So with time, the density is more or less a straight line, or it is changing very slowly. The density of atoms per cc within the well region remains more or less constant or changing very, very slowly. Okay? So just near the surface it is more or less a constant value. This is called as a uniform well doping profile. This is a normal case for a long channel. Normal case. Okay? But with research, they changed the doping profile. They said, okay, let me go for different doping profile. Let me immediately at the surface it is very less. And just beyond the surface it increases drastically to a very high value. This is known as a low-high doping. This is called as a low-high doping. That means just at the surface, value of the doping concentration is very less, and immediately beneath it, it increases drastically to a very high value. This is called as a low-high doping or SSRW. That is super steep retrograde well. This is called as super steep retrograde well. So symbolically it is shown like this. A low value here, so a color which is less intense, and as you go below, the value goes on increasing, so color goes on becoming more and more dark. Here the color is less dark, and as you go down, the color becomes increasing more and more dark. That shows concentration is low at the surface and it is increasing as you go down. It is increasing as you go down. This is called as a low-high doping or super steep retrograde well. How does it help you? It helps you in increasing your or decreasing your off-state leakage current. These are the research findings which were published, that with this retrograde MOSFET channel doping, okay, with these values, channel length 28 nanometers. So can you see that is the doping concentration and this is the depth. So doping concentration is low here, 10 to power 15, and suddenly it increases to 10 to power 19 within a short distance. Short depth. It goes on increasing. As a result, look at this value of VT. VT. Okay, so what is this VT doing? What is this SSRW doing? Okay, it is, can you see, in the same short channel MOSFET, same length, same characteristic, same L, with super steep retrograde profile, VT value is increasing. VT value is increasing. This is for a uniform doping 335 and SSR 320. No. VT value is increasing. Where is, I think some mistake is there. VT value, we want VT to be mistakes are missing slides. Let me check out. Just kindly wait for a minute. Yes. I think we should look at this graph because what is the value? What is the thing that we want? We want the offset leakage to be less. And as a result of that, we were changing the profile doping of my well region. We were changing it from uniform doping to low high doping. Why? The reason why we were going for low to high. This is the two graphs which are plotted. Okay, and they are compared. What is this L value? It is a 1 nanoampere current. We are assuming that VT is defined as that value of potential threshold voltage at which the current through the MOSFET is 1 nanoampere, or it is less. So that value is taken as the VT value. Okay, so we assume we want my VT. At VT, the subthreshold current or the offset leakage current to be 1 nanoampere or less. It should not be more. Otherwise, it will cause a offset leakage, which I do not want. So this was actually a research was done, and the different values are plotted. Okay. So what on this axis is the threshold voltage. On this axis the current at different values of the VT values. Okay. What current you have? Clear? Now, can you see for a uniform doping well, which is uniformly doped? Okay? So, at 0.4 volts VTP, the current is higher. The current supports a higher value. You want an L to be, how to understand that? What is the L value? What L you require, channel length you require to have a current of 1 nanoamperes per millimeter. Have 1 nanoampere per millimeter of current. So L, you want a higher L. Understand that if you want a VTP of 0.4 volts, okay, for this, if you are going for a uniform well doping, L you have is 0.25. That means to have a current of only 1 nanoampere. If I say my VT is that value at which current is 1 nanoampere, then this graph says that for uniform doping you cannot have L less than 0.2. That means I cannot create a short channel MOSFET with uniform doping for a ice offset as 1 nanoampere. I cannot create. That means if I want to have a smaller MOSFET, L has to be reduced. And if L has to be reduced, I still want a current of 1 nanoampere. I cannot use a uniform doping profile because this will not allow me to create a smaller MOSFET. That is why well doping profile is changed, and this is a plot with a well SSRW doping profile. Okay, again for 0.4 VTP, suppose you want a 0.4 VTP, can I create a smaller MOSFET? So can you see from this graph? From this graph, at 0.4 volt VTP, the value you are getting for L to be 0.2 for the same value of current of 1 nanoampere at VTP defined value. That means with SSRW, I can create a smaller MOSFET with the subthreshold current same as that I require for that I want it to be, say 1 nanoampere. My definition for subthreshold current at VT is 1 nanoampere. Then my SSRW profile will support smaller dimension of L. That means a smaller MOSFET can be created. Or if you put it in that way, in a direct fashion, that means a short channel MOSFET created with a SSRW will give you a less offset leakage in comparison to a uniform doping profile. That is why because of this research finding, they changed the doping profile of the well from uniform doping to SSRW or low high doping. This is called as well engineering. But this was not the only way, because this was in itself was not sufficient to control the ice off state. So something more has to be done. Something more has to be done. This was not at all sufficient by itself. So something more has to be done. And that more thing that has to be done was actually called as a source drain engineering. So along with well engineering, source drain engineering is also done to control the offstate leakage. To control the offstate leakage. So what is done in the case of a source drain engineering? Look, this is what was the observation. Okay, so we have, can you look here, a deeper drain and source. Whereas here you have a shallow drain and source. Thickness is small. Drain junction thickness is small. Okay, so a deeper drain, deep junction, and a shallow junction. So look here, the contour of electric fields. So electric fields at the drain junction. This is a drain junction. This is also a drain junction. So potential at the drain junction, okay, causes electric field lines which are entering deep into the channel region. Entering deep into the channel region, whereas here the penetration of my electric lines contours, it is less deeper into the channel region. This was what was observed. That if you make, what is the result of this? It was concluded that if you make a shallow junction, then your electric lines from the drain source will not penetrate deep into the channel. It will not penetrate deep or further into the channel. As a result, the channel charge which is controlled. The problem of VT, why you are not able to control the current? Because gate loses its control over the current. It cannot control the channel charge. Because channel charge now is more or less controlled by the drain and the source, because the separation is so thin. So the very small amount of channel charge is controlled by my gate voltage. As a result, gate control is losing. As a result, subthreshold current is increasing. So we said, okay, along with low-high doping, I will do something at the source and drain. Okay, I want to loosen the control of source and drain over my channel charge. I want to make it less. And to make it less, I have to make the penetration of electric lines of forces from drain less into the channel region. So I can do it now by making the channel region or the junction shallow. I can make it. I do not design a deep junction, deep drain junction. Design a shallow drain junction. Shallow means thickness must be small. So, okay, what is the harm? I can easily go for it. Along with low high doping, I can reduce the depth of my junctions. What is the harm? But there is a harm. Okay, what is the harm? Harm is that if you design what is a normally drain junction, they are heavily doped. They are heavily doped. Drain junctions are heavily doped. Okay, so drain junctions are heavily doped. Why do you make them heavily doped? What's the reason? Why do we dope them heavily? The reason was the resistance of the drain region must be very, very less. So that at the drain, I should not have a voltage drop. As the current carriers, they pass through the drain region, they should not cause a voltage drop. So we deliberately increase the doping of my drain junction very, very high. But now you are going for a shallow junction. Thickness is reducing and you are doping it lightly. So now resistivity of my drain junction is increasing. And if the resistivity is increasing, the drop at the drain junction is increasing, which I do not want. Which I do not want. So I cannot make my entire junction shallow and lightly doped. I cannot make. Otherwise, the total resistance of my drain junction will increase and I will get a sizable voltage drop across my drain junction as the carriers flow through the drain junction. I can't do it. So what is done is that a structure which is called as LDD, lightly doped drain extensions. We make our drain junction deep, but at the point where it is facing the channel, we make it shallow. We make it shallow. We make the thickness less, and this is lightly doped. This is deep and this is heavily doped. And they are connected together. So this becomes one drain junction. And these are called as LDD structures, lightly doped drain extensions. These are called as LDD structures, lightly doped drain structures. So now I have towards the channel a shallow junction, but towards the contact a deep junction. So overall resistivity also I am maintaining, I am controlling. At the same time, I am also controlling the penetration of my electric lines of forces into the source drain region. So this is called as the source drain engineering. This is called as a source and drain engineering. Okay. So together with these two, so now what is happening with source drain engineering? My large amount of channel charge is not controlled by gate voltage. So gate voltage control is increasing. Gate voltage control is increasing over the current. As a result, it is able to control my I sub threshold. So I sub threshold reduces because more gate control is there. And well engineering says that now just for you can create smaller dimensions which can support a very small amount of leakage current. So source drain engineering coupled with well engineering, they both are done in order to control the I off state. I off state. So I off state is made less. So that now even a nanometer MOSFET, okay, can have a high I on state and a low I off state. Gate leakage current is reduced by choice of a proper high K dielectric and a proper metal silicide. So these two major changes are brought in to our fab sequence in order to create a sub-nanometer MOSFET which can give you a reliable IV characteristics. Okay, so this is how we create a sub-micron MOSFET. So you must have done in your ICFT course a normal flow. Okay, how the steps are created in order to steps are followed in a sequence in order to create a MOSFET. But now when you create a nanometer MOSFET, there is a change. So that change is what I just wanted to give you a flavor in this lecture, that today's process is different from what actually was followed 50 years ago. But we are able to do it because now our foundries are very, very sophisticated. We are able to, and we have developed processes with which we are able to create smaller dimensions, shallow junctions, low high doping, metal gate. Earlier metal gate was not possible. That is why we went for polysilicon. Nowadays we have a cold process which allows us to deposit a metal gate mixed with silicide. So that is a possibility. Okay? And as a result of this, the structures are also changed. The structure is also changed. So what is the structural change? That leads to the change in the structure of a planar MOSFET. I hope you understand what is this. What is this structure? This is not a planar MOSFET. Now this becomes a FinFET. This is a three-dimensional structure. It's a FinFET. It is a FinFET. So what is the fin here? What's the fin here? Shape of the gate. So now you have raised source and drain. So source and drain, they are not embedded into the silicon, they are raised. They are raised out of it. So we have a region which is coming out of my plane of silicon. Okay? So we have a drain, we have a source, and in between we create a gate. So this is a channel. Can you see this is a channel? This green is a channel from here to here. And the currents are flowing through this from source to drain. So this is my gate which is controlled, and now because of the raised structure of source and drain, you can have the gate above it, you can have gate here it, and you can have gate this side. Because my source and drains are raised structures. They are protruding out of the surface of the silicon. You have a raised source and drain. So this is a raised source and drain on which this is a silicided gate which is fabricated. So now you have gate on the three side. You have gate on the channel from the three side. But how does it help? How does it help? So this is technology suitable only for very small channel length transistors. Why? Why? Again the problem is the same. Okay, we have the sold in engineering, we have well engineering, but if you still move on towards very small dimensions, again, even those don't work. Even those things, they don't work. So if you want to create an 11 nanometer MOSFET, how will you create? They will help us only to a certain extent. Like the source drain engineering and the well engineering. But still if I substrate is very large, I offset is very large, what will you do? What will you do? So that is why FinFET is created. What is happening in FinFET, that is like a water hose, garden hose, that you give watering to your plants, a garden pipe. Okay, if a garden pipe is very large and there is a flow of water through it, flow of water can be taken as a current flow. Okay, and the dimension of the pipe can be taken as channel. So current is or water is flowing through the garden hose, and then if you want to stop the flow of water, what you can do, you will put your foot on it, you will put your palm on it, 2 palms. You can ask your friend also to put 2 palms. Because of the additional efforts, the water you are able to stop through the garden hose, it will not flow. Okay. Now suppose initially my garden hose was this long, I was able to put my 2 hands. My friend was also put his 2 hands, 1 foot also. Okay, now I make it very, very small, only this much. Can you put 2 hands now? I can just put my thumb. I can just put my thumb and try to put my pressure on it. Will I be able? So, because the effort is less now, because I am not able to push it properly, I will not be able to stop the flow of water through it. So, when the dimensions are becoming very, very small, 11 nanometers, channel length becomes so small, just one single gate, one single effort, one single press of the thumb will not help you. You cannot make eyes offset very, very small. It is difficult. So how to stop the current flow now? So one thing, that you press the water from this side and this side also. Press it this way and also press it this way. Three-way. Put three-way pressure. Put three-way pressure. Put the pressure this side, put the pressure this side and this side. Three-way pressure. Because then you are able to put more 3 times effort. As a result, you will be able to stop the flow of water. That is what is the philosophy behind FinFET. So we bring our source and drain outside so that I can create a MOSFET which is three-way, which has three-way gate, which has gate on 3 sides. So we have gate here, we have gate on the top, and we have gate on the other side also. So that now a voltage comes here, a voltage comes here, and a voltage comes here. Three side voltages are coming. So that means the gate voltage control is now more on the channel charge, bringing down my I offset or able to turn off my MOSFET. Able to stop the current below VT. This is called as a FinFET. And FinFET is what is actually the technology now Intel has started using for creating circuits below or near 11 nanometers, 14 nanometers. They are able to create circuits with FinFETs. FinFETs, they work very well. It has been tested, it has been published. You will find many papers on FinFET operation that it works very properly. Operation is similar to that of a MOSFET, but structure now changes. Structurally, it is bit different. It is no longer planar. It is no longer planar. Okay? So, as you are nearing towards the ultimate point where you will say, okay, now you can have no more scaling. So, till that point is reached, researchers are doing everything possible what they can do technologically to make a MOSFET to work either by changing dielectric or by changing the doping profile or by changing the implants or extensions or by creating things. Okay, so till date FinFET is a technology that can be used for creating nanometer circuits. Okay, so this is a kind of a peek I have tried to give you into the future of silicon VLSI. So how long this will continue? Let us see. But other technologies like CNT FET, organic electronics are also people are researching. So now they know that at any point of time it can happen maybe after 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. We don't know when that point will come, but that point will ultimately come. Now it is very, very clear that ultimately silicon CMOS will not be able to scale down much. So we have to go for a new technology. So research is going on and people are exploring possibilities of using other kind of devices. So I think you people are doing that course, advanced VLSI devices. You people are not doing. So those students who are enrolled in that course, they will know what is research heading and in what direction. Okay. So I will stop my discussion on this topic to this only, just to give you a flavor. Okay. So we will not be discussing anything further on that. We will be now next time we will be starting discussing more number systems.
Ma'am,
Yes.
hello. Request from Goa campus students actually. This time, unfortunately, we were not able to take the advanced VLSI device course, and many of the students were interested. So at least for the next batch, this should be made a TP course. I mean, advanced VLSI devices.
Kindly give a request to your HOD and let him talk to me. Okay? Let
Yes,
it come
ma'am.
through a proper channel. Fine?
Yeah.
Fine.
In the electives which we got also, we were forced to take those. So instead of doing those electives, we can do the course which we are interested in actually. So,
I'm saying you put up his request to your HOD.
yes, ma'am.
Okay? अच्छा हाँ वो मैंने देखा नहीं है तो सबने भेज दिया ठीक
Availability mandate this thing as well. People are trying that.